Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Candra Wijaya, and in this video, I would like to explain about inflection in morphology. First of all, I will describe the definition of inflection in morphology. Inflection refers to a process of word formation in which items are added to the base form of a word to express grammatical meaning. The word inflection comes from the Latin phrase inflectere, meaning to bend. Inflection in grammatical and in English grammar use include the genitives like the plural as, the third person singular also as, and the past tense d, ed, or t. And in the negative participle, nt, mt in the end of the word. And in forms of verb, we use ing or auxiliary verb, something like that. And in comparative, we use er, and the superlative is est. While inflection take a variety of forms, they are most often prefixes or suffix. They are used to express different grammatical categories. For example, the inflection s at the end of dogs shows that the noun is plural, and the same inflection as at the end of runs shows that the subject is in the third person singular. The inflection ed is often used to indicate the past tense, changing word to work, and listen to listen. In this way, inflections are used to show grammatical categories as sentence, as tense, person, and number. Jadi, inflection merupakan kata yang memiliki arti dasar yang sama atau tidak mengubah makna dari kata dasarnya. Sedangkan kata yang ditambahkan tersebut dipakai untuk mengikuti aturan yang berasal dari tata bahasa dan pemakaian kata tersebut. Sebagai contoh, kata mouse bisa berubah menjadi mice dikarenakan jumlah tikus yang dimaksud itu lebih dari satu. And inflection can also be used to indicate a word part of speech. Indicate the word part of speech like the prefix en, for example, transforms the nouns golf into the verb engulf. The suffix er transforms the verb read into the noun reader. The inflection of English verb is also known as conjunction. Like regular verb follow us, and also the regular verb follow a certain rules and consists of three parts. The first one is the base verb or present tense, and the next one is the verb plus ed in simple past tense, and the base verb plus, and the last one is the base verb plus or ed in the past participle tense. For example, the following rules of inflection in English, like the verb look, as in the sentence I look around the room becomes becomes in both the simple past tense and the past participle. Look in the sentence I look around the room, or I have looked around the room, while most verbs follow the conjunction rule. There are over 200 words in the English language that do not follow the rule. This irregular verb includes be, begin, beat, bleed, catch, deal, drive, eat, feel, and etc. Since these words do not follow the rules for most English verbs, their unique conjunction must be learned on their own. And inflection is divided by two aspects: regular and irregular inflection. Regular inflection is the way we change a word form to reflect things like tense, plurality, gender, and etc. It is usually governed by consistent, predictable rules. This is known as regular inflection. For example, we usually create past simple tense or verbs by adding d or ed, as in the word heard or walk, which also function as the verb's past participle. And we normally create plurals by adding s or es to the ends of nouns, as in the word dogs, cats, watches, and etc. And the next one is regular inflection. However, there are many instances the way a word inflected doesn't seem to follow any rule or convention at all. This is known as irregular inflection. For example, the past simple tense of the verb go is went, rather than goed, G-O-E-D, as regular inflection would suggest. And it is past participle and it is past participle is gone. Irregular inflection affects noun, adjective, adverb, and most commonly verbs. And we moving on to lexeme. I will explain a little bit about lexeme and what it means. A lexeme is a unit of lexical meaning that underlines to set a word that related to true inflection. It is basic abstract unit of meaning. I'm sorry. A unit of and can be described as a unit of morphological analysis in linguistics that roughly corresponds to a set of forms taken by a single root word. How to identify a lexeme? A lexeme is a sequence of characters in the source program that match the pattern for a token, and it's identified by the lexical analyzer as an instance of that token. A token is a pair consisting of a token name and an optional tribute value. For example, uh, I will use the word run as an example to explain a lexeme. I will use the word run. By literal meaning, run means fast moving on feet, and run is a verb. Okay, I will use three forms of run to be the example to describe flexion. Like run can be ran or running. The first one is run. Could be used in past participle tense. For example, Tim ran fast but missed the bus. It meaning that Timmy has already missed the bus in the past time. Past time. I'm sorry. And run. We can use run in three tense. The first one is the first one is the first one is past perfect simple tense. For example, Tom had wrong had wrong. Tom had run the wrong way. It means that the action happened before another action in the past. It is referred to the action that happened first or earlier. The past simple to refer to the action that happened second or later. And in past present perfect simple, for example in sentence, Tim has never run the race. It expresses that the action is still going on or that stopped recently but has an influence on the present time. It put emphasis on the result. Future and the example in future an example of run in the usage of future perfect simple. For example, Tom will have to run the fast to win the race. The race. I'm sorry. In this example, it emphasizes that the action will be completed before a specific time in the future. And the next one is the word running. Running can be used in several tenses. The first one is past continuous tense, or in the sentence example, like Tom was running for the bus when he fell. This indicates a continuing action that was happening at some point in time in the past. And the next one is in past perfect continuous tense. I will put it in the sentence like Tom realized that he had been running for the wrong bus. This indicates that the action which started in the past continued up until another time in the past. And running in present continuous tense, for example, Tom is running fast. This indicates that the action is I'm sorry in the recent time or now, frequently, and may continue into the future. Running in present perfect continuous tense. For example, Tom has been running on the track since the last 5 years. This indicates that the action started in the past and it is continuing at the present time. And also in the future continuous tense, for example in sentence, Tom is running in the marathon on Sunday. It indicates that the action will occur in the future and continue for an expected length of time. And the last one is running in future perfect continuous tense. For example, this time next week, Tom and Ron will have been running together in the marathon for 2 years. It describes that the action will continue up until a certain point in the future. And that's about lexeme. And the next one I will explain about form of nouns. English noun inflection alter the nouns to convey a more specific meaning and give information about noun. Noun inflection includes additional or altered letters to convey a plural and adding apostrophes to indicate possession. Nouns can be either singular or plural. Singular means just one of the person, animal, or thing which the nouns refer to. Plural means more than one. There are also some plural display not even a vowel change. For example, sheep, fish, deer, trout. Therefore, if the plural and singular forms of these nouns are the same, how can we tell whether they are singular or plural? According to syntactic context, I will try to explain it in 2 sentences. The first sentence is, a deer was visible through the trees. And the second one is, a deer was visible through the trees. In the first sentence, it tells that the deer is singular, or more strictly, it represents the grammatical word singular of the lexeme deer, because it is accompanied by the indefinite article, which only ever accompanies singular nouns. For example, in general is a cat, not a cats. And because the form be found in first sentence, agreeing in singular number with the subject a deer is was, not were, in the not is was, not were. In the second example, for parallel reasons, we can tell that the deer is plural. The numeral 2 accompanies only plural nouns, like two cats and not two cat. And the form of be in the second example is the plural word. So that a little bit that I can explain about inflection in morphology, lexeme, and etc. I do hope that you can learn something from my explanation about inflectional in morphology. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for listening to my explanation. I hope this will benefit you in your learning of morphology. That is all from me. Wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.